We are on a journey from field to fork. By 2050, there are expected to be 10 billion people on the planet. How to feed everyone is a profound question for the whole world and is set to transform farming in the decades ahead.
You feel like you are part of the change that could transform the way people eat.
From preserving water, the lifeblood that feeds the crops.
We've increased our water use efficiency by over 33% in the 20 years.
To regenerating the very soil they grow in.
This is a liquid fermenter that allows us to scale just a little bit of microbes into a lot of microbes.
From sustainable and safe food.
Welcome to the largest vertical farm in the world.
To protecting the environment and reducing waste.
It's an amazing feeling to see that you can contribute to something that will change the world.
To help answer these questions, we'll be meeting some of the world's most influential thought leaders.
It's amazing to me what can change when agriculture changes.
To explore how innovation and modern agriculture are leading the way.
It's fundamentally a game changer for farmers around the world.
To reform our land and diet, and connecting farmer to consumer. Our desire to know more about the food on our plate and how it was grown is now an irresistible force. And in this episode, we'll discover how farming is rising to the challenge. Welcome to Follow the Food. As the food industry gears up to meet increasing demand, it's also responding to calls from consumers to increase transparency at every stage of the production process, from the origin of food on supermarket shelves to the methods used on the farm. In the past 5 decades, international food imports and exports have increased around 5-fold. Annually, over $1 trillion worth of food products now navigate the globe along our food supply chains. And keeping that food safe and secure is an industry worth an estimated $14 billion. To help understand the problem of global food security, I've come to meet Caleb Harper at MIT in Boston. A powerful voice in the exploration of our future food systems, Harper and his team are developing an open-source agricultural model designed to create a more transparent and collaborative approach to food production.
The consumer has changed from I want more food and I want it cheaper, which was a huge goal of feeding a lot of people and led to how we developed technology over the last 30 years. The consumer has now said, I want to know how good is it for me, what did it cost the environment, and where did it come from?
How does your open source agriculture help this?
It's an amazing thing, the amount of food the world produces today and the amount of people that are alive because of it. Where we can do so much more is by linking every step in this supply chain. Currently, it's a lot of kind of handshakes, like see you laters, from the farmer to the distributor to the packer to the value adder to the retailer to the consumer. None of this is linked in a way that's really dynamic and understandable.
Is this the new frontier?
Absolutely. I think the new frontier is you go into a grocery store and you're buying things because of their nutritional value, not because of their marketed attribute, like this is organic or this is, local, or this is all these kind of marketing terms that have been built up will be replaced completely. I don't think the general consumer has any idea what it took to get that food to them. Now we're asking, where did it come from? How good is it for me? How good is it for the environment?
Finding out more about where our food is coming from, Greg Foot has headed to the Netherlands, where there is a drive to bridge the gap between farmer and consumer by creating more openness within product supply chains.
This orange juice is special. It's got its own digital record that can tell us a lot about its production. It's known as its blockchain.
It's a digital record of the supply chain all the way from producer right down to consumer. And the blockchain for this juice begins almost 10,000 kilometers away in the orange-growing regions of Brazil.
We're located in the center of the state of São Paulo, also the heart of the citrus belt in Brazil. Consumers nowadays want to understand where the products that we're buying are coming from. We want to understand the origin. We want to understand if these products have been produced in a manner that we agree with from an environmental standpoint, a social standpoint, and a quality standpoint. We have an integrated traceability system, and in this system, we're collecting information incorporated in the blockchain from growing the fruit, the harvesting, the juicing, the concentrating of the product, the transportation, and finally the distribution. The technology itself has enabled us to be able to give visibility to the end consumer on all of these different steps. This information is vital for us to manage our operation, whether it's our farms, our industry, our distribution, and eventually our delivery.
Having completed the ocean leg of its journey, the juice arrives at this bottling plant in the Netherlands. To find out a little more about blockchain, I've come to meet Commercial Director Alexander van Assu.
I'm interested in what information you actually get at each step of the journey.
Okay.
Let's record this as we go.
From the port in Santos, Brazil, it's been transported to the port in Ghent.
Transport to port, transport across the Atlantic.
It gets transported here in big trucks, so we will add the water that was extracted in Brazil.
Okay, processing. And what are you recording into the blockchain at this stage?
The production time, the batch number, the production date, and this is what leaves our factory. And then it's for consumers to buy, and by scanning the QR code on the bottle, they can see the total blockchain and all the steps that the product has made.
So we've got 9 blocks of information.
These now represent our entire blockchain. The World Health Organization estimates that almost 1 in 10 people become ill every year from eating contaminated food, with 420,000 dying as a result. Everything from contaminated baby milk in China to rogue horse meat in the UK. Consumers, governments and companies are demanding details about the systems and sources that produce and deliver the goods. They want assurances on quality, safety, ethics and environmental impact, all questions that blockchain can provide answers for. But can it be trusted?
Blockchain to me means information held on various computers, protected by cryptography so that nobody else can modify it. Is it similar technology, the same?
Yeah, it has the same base. So what we did is we built, together with all the partners in the chain, an independent and digital database. And it was built by an external company, and they also are checking all the data that is being uploaded in the chain. So it is totally secured there. And if somebody changes some of the data, the total chain will see it.
Blockchain's level of transparency and accountability is ideal for tracing food, but how can this work practically for the consumer? At this supermarket chain, they are putting it to the test.
I usually read all the packages and on the back the ingredients. Plus, I would like to know what I feed my children.
I really do care about my food, where it's coming from, and I want to know what's inside.
People need to know where stuff comes from. If they are stricter in it, and if they inform us much better, then you make better choices, which are in the end better for the environment.
Anita Schult is the Vice President of Quality here at the Albert Heijn supermarket chain.
We decided to do a blockchain project on orange juice together with Refresco to make the supply chain of orange juice transparent to the customer.
Right, well, I have not had a chance yet to scan the QR code and see what it will tell me.
There you enter the number, what's on the bottle. So you see that this particular bottle is from these farms in Brazil.
So then we can see that it went to the port
in
Santos, and then it came into Ghent, and then it came to here.
Exactly.
And what do you think the power of this technology is?
We are connecting the consumer to the farmer. As a customer, I can actually send a chat message to the farmers in Brazil, and they will see it the next day.
So we could take a picture of us holding the bottle or
Yeah.
drinking it for breakfast and send it to the farmer.
Yeah. So this is really connecting people in the supply chain, but also for our customers here in the Netherlands to see the real story about where the oranges are coming from, what is the sustainable part of the orange juice. It's Rainforest Alliance certified, so that means a lot. So it's really explaining the whole story of the orange juice supply chain to everybody.
Will this product be more expensive because of this information gathering process?
No, there is no increase for the customer.
Well, let's get out of the way. Let's let someone come and buy the orange juice. Thanks so much.
I'll have one.
Okay. We're becoming more interested in where our food and drink comes from. And blockchain technology appears to take big steps to achieve that. Increased trackability, transparency, traceability, that increased connection between consumer and producer can only be a good thing.
Later on, Caleb will be showing me one of his personal solutions, the food computer. Can a group of non-farmers all around the world really change the future of agriculture?
Absolutely.
Chinese residents are wrestling back control of their food.
Can you convince people to spend more money buying healthier food?
A lot of food scandals will convince them.
And consumers in the US are turning their backs on sugar.
You can actually taste the leaf. It will actually come out as slightly sweet.
Not slightly sweet, very sweet. We are looking at ways in which farmers around the globe are responding to an irresistible desire for more information about the food we eat. With demand for food on the rise, consumers are putting pressure on those producing it to be accountable. Accountable for where our food comes from and how it was farmed in the first place. It's time for producers, manufacturers, and retailers to close the gap between those growing it and those consuming it. At MIT in the US, I've been meeting ag tech pioneer Caleb Harper. Harper wants to show me a forward-thinking research project he believes could be the complete solution to closing the information gap by turning every consumer into a producer. Taking inspiration from the computing world, Harper is encouraging users to share their growing experience in order to fast-track the development of new plant strains.
These are the new personal food computer.
How do these work? These are so neat.
So you've got the little environment inside, right, that's growing the plant. And on top of each of these boxes is what we call a brain. A number of different sensors, a CO2 sensor, temperature and humidity sensors, and then also, of course, the lights. So this LED array that you can see can do about 3 million different combinations of spectrum. Right now, these are set to mimic daylight.
And then all of that information goes where?
Goes into our cloud and becomes a recipe.
The recipe is data collected by the array of sensors. That data can then be replicated by other food computers anywhere else in the world. If I'm at home doing an experiment, this may have repercussions for what some consumer eats down the road a year from now.
Absolutely.
In what way?
So the things that you might change because you thought it would be cool to have a blue light in your house, or you just had some reason you thought for your lifestyle it would be neat to change, might have a very interesting effect on the plant. And then you go into the forum and say, you know, this basil tasted spicy. I don't know why it tastes spicy. And then we look back and we say, okay, well, what were all of the things that you did that may have led to that plant creating it? And then in the market, maybe we implement your recipe.
Can a group of non-farmers all around the world with boxes like this growing plants really change the future of agriculture?
Absolutely, because for us, you know, to do machine learning, you need massive amounts of data. To get those data sets large is exactly what that kind of decentralized or disparate community is perfect for.
While Harper's high-tech vision for the future may still be some way off, in China, a growing movement is gaining ground. Lorato Mbele is in Beijing to understand how food scares and growing personal wealth is reshaping the relationship consumers have with food producers.
I've traveled 70 kilometers north of the capital to visit a pioneering organization called Shared Harvest. And what they've done here is respond to the social change in consumer demand. They sell and distribute directly to the customer. This farm was one of the first in China to follow the community-supported agriculture, or CSA model, working to bring food producers closer to the consumer. Xian is the founder.
The whole concept is based on how we can reconnect consumers and farmers.
Consumers sign up as CSA members by investing a sum of money up front. This gives farmers a stable income, while consumers get a share of the harvest, typically receiving a weekly supply of fruit and vegetables, dairy products, or meat, confident it's been grown locally in a safe and sustainable way. Can you talk me through how this shared harvest farm has grown?
At the beginning, 2012, we have about 100 members. We have almost 3 hectares of land. And now we have more than 1,000 members, more than 20 hectares of land. All the history of China, there are no farmers that supply 1,000 families for the whole year. We are creating the history.
Can you show me how?
Sure, let's go to visit.
So much warmer than outside.
Yeah, sure.
Can you convince people to spend more money buying healthier food?
I think the eating habit is really changing dramatically in the last 30 years in China. A lot of food scandals will convince them.
When you imagine what the future of shared harvest is going to look like, what do you see?
We really want to build a solid base for education, for kids, but also for adults, so that we can really train more farmers practice this model.
It's apparent that farming techniques in China aren't going to change overnight, but there are signs that the tide has started to turn. And that's because of consumers who are demanding food that's more nutritious and traceable, as well as a new generation of farmers who've become innovative and disruptive. And all of these variables will mean that much needed faith can be restored to the food chain.
As well as food provenance, today's consumer is increasingly concerned about health, and obesity is one of the biggest threats, with nearly 30% of the world's population now either obese or overweight. Both consumer and producer are looking for solutions. We're living in a time when consumers are more and more concerned about the sugar content in their food, and that's causing some big manufacturers to take a hard look at their ingredients and come up with healthier options. One potential solution may have been found in the breakthrough research taking place on the naturally grown sugar substitute stevia, a zero-calorie sweetener. I've come to Pure Circle, a major stevia supplier to the food and beverage industry, to find out more about this plant. Magomay Malzagov is the company's founder and CEO. Why is stevia better than sugar?
I think if you take pound to pound, it has same calories as sugar. And the trick is it's in its intensity of sweetness. Stevia can be as sweet as 600 times sugar.
So I need 600 times less?
600 times less of everything.
Because you need so much less stevia to make a product sweet, do we need to grow less of it than sugar?
Yes, you need 5 times less land. It's 80 times less water.
Wow.
About 90 times less carbon. In the grand scheme of things, you would need 1 million hectares to remove 30% sugar globally.
Stevia was at one time hailed as the perfect natural replacement for sugar and artificial sweeteners. However, it has one major flaw: a bitter aftertaste, which has made it less appealing to the consumer. So this is a stevia plant?
This is a stevia plant.
What is stevia exactly?
Stevia is a all-natural, zero-calorie sugar replacement product that is grown naturally. So this is a plant that you can actually use in a wide range of food and beverage products.
Can I taste it?
Absolutely. So you can actually taste the leaf. It will actually come out as slightly sweet.
Mm-hmm. Not slightly sweet, very sweet, but bitter. Now, after decades of natural plant breeding, the team here have managed to find a way to remove this characteristic to create Starleaf. What is Starleaf exactly?
This is a new plant variety that we have out in the marketplace. It has a higher content of better tasting sweet compounds than the conventional leaf.
So Starleaf is a sweeter stevia.
Sweeter, better tasting stevia leaf.
And how did you do that? How do you breed a new kind of plant?
We look at a wide range of different cultivars and look for attributes that are improvements over our conventional leaf. So this could be a range from better tasting sweet compounds to grows better in certain climates. There's a wide range of different attributes that we look for. We have a Starleaf variety, which is the new plant variety that we're utilizing right now.
All right, so this should be less bitter, right?
This will be less bitter.
Right, so now this is much more consumer friendly when it
Correct.
comes to wanting to sweeten our food.
Yeah, so what we'll do then is we'll take these leaves, we'll extract out the really good tasting parts of it, and then we'll utilize that for sweetening food products.
Increased food production over the past 50 years has helped improve life expectancy, reduce hunger, and global poverty. However, such benefits are being offset by shifts towards unhealthy and unsustainable diets. It's why major food and beverage manufacturers are keen to work more closely with consumers to overhaul our eating patterns by, for example, making treats less calorific. So, could Starleaf replace sugar? The thing I'm most excited to taste is the ice cream.
Great.
Which we have back here. So this is...
There's a chocolate vanilla ice cream that we made that is reduced calorie and no sugar added.
That is so good.
Great. Again, we're utilizing a lot of the new compounds from our Starleaf stevia, and with the tools from the toolbox in that, we're utilizing that for developing brand new food products.
With clear communication from one end of the food chain to the other, producers can understand exactly what consumers want and can work together to develop healthier and more sustainably produced food with confidence. Caleb Harper believes that in order to achieve future food demands, the divide between producer and consumer must change.
These are grand challenges that we all have to face. There's not a person on earth that doesn't eat every day. You know, when we think about all the things that we could be working on, agriculture somehow still has this stigma of being old, of being, you know, part of an completely industrial system, and we want to break that up. We want to decentralize it. We want to digitize it. We want to offer it to more people because the problems that we're facing are incredibly serious for the survival of humanity.
In the future, it will be more important than ever to make sure the right food is getting to the right consumer. By reducing the information gap between field and fork, we will change the nature of our economies and alter consumer behavior the world over. Closing the information gap between food producers and consumers will help us move towards a more transparent and sustainable future. Find out about exciting innovations and changes taking place around the globe at bbc.com/followthefood.